Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Rachelle. Folks, it is so great to be back with you again. And folks, I know last time I promised I was wrapping up that series on leadership no-nos. And remember the final two episodes I highlighted the value of confidence, particularly number one, about who you are, being secure in who you are and your purpose. Number two, being secure and having confidence in your abilities to make things happen in terms of what you can do. So I'm actually going to have another episode here resurrecting this topic of confidence here with three case studies on confidence that are so important. And so folks, I always come back to confidence several times a year on Fitness Fridays as well as non-Fitness Fridays because it is so important, and confidence is just a key ingredient to success, of course, not only in fitness but in life. But insecurity in all its forms, fashions, and manifestations derails so many people, and I never want that to be you, certainly, or me. But folks, I want to kick off this episode by highlighting Walmart actually had a health fair. It was supposed to be a national health fair across all their stores, but I went to the one in Novi. So this was Saturday, April 27th. And you see they have all the wellness-oriented samples and coupons and goodies were in this box. And then this one, of course, the water bottle had some also health-oriented samples and coupons and things inside. So it was so cool. And they had screenings and all of those things going on. So it's always great. Anytime large corporations, stores, businesses, companies integrate health and wellness in terms of their operations and what they're doing, but obviously they sell health-oriented, wellness-oriented products and services, but that's still great to see. So that was so awesome. I love freebies. I love giveaways. And as you can see here again, bam, I'm sporting my Planet Fitness Be Free t-shirt, which was, of course, compliments of Alexa Porter, the general manager of the number one location now of Planet Fitness in Troy, Michigan. She and her team, and so greatly appreciated as I speak on confidence quite a bit. So this is something that is already come in handy, and I'm so grateful, obviously, on Fitness Fridays where it's timely and relatable, but also non-Fitness Fridays and outside of my Posi-TIPS episodes where it will be getting put to good use. But folks, I want to kick off this series here on, again, resurrecting confidence, these case studies here, by just highlighting the fact that many people, we have an obesity epidemic in this country, with the Centers for Disease Control stating that 2/3 of Americans in this country are either overweight or obese. And of course, countries outside of the United States are also seeing growing levels of obesity. So it is truly becoming a global challenge, but certainly here in the United States, it is off the charts. And I want to highlight here, I want to kick off this episode by highlighting an example of one gentleman's weight loss quest, and it actually appeared on NBCnews.com. And so this was April 27th of this year. And so this gentleman actually lost 100 pounds in 6 months. So it was a great story. So the title of the article is "Picturing Himself in the Future Helped One Man Reach His 100-Pound Weight Loss Goal." And so he utilized visualization techniques, and for those who aren't familiar with that technique, essentially it has a lot to do with motivation. So essentially you see yourself doing something, if you haven't done it before, even if you have done it before, you visualize yourself being successful. You know, if you've got to give, I don't know, a presentation at work and you've never given one before, you visualize it, you picture yourself speaking and people being receptive and all of that, and you being an effective communicator. You know, you're going into a job interview, you visualize yourself seated there, confidently answering questions and all of that and getting the job. And so this man utilized the same visualization type techniques on his weight loss journey. It's a lengthy article, and so I just want to highlight the first couple of paragraphs of it. So it says, Dustin Worth signed up for a health challenge at work on June 1st, 2018. When he did, he visualized what fitness would look like for him. He pictured himself on a beach in Florida with his son on his shoulders. In his mind, he's lean, his back is strong, and he feels comfortable going shirtless. But Worth had a long way to go before that vision became real. At the time, he weighed 270 pounds and felt so self-conscious about his size that he didn't want to join a gym or run outside. Instead, he ran on a treadmill in the dark, musty basement of his 1960s era house in Michigan. And so this is an example, and again, we talk about confidence, of how, as this article so clearly alludes to, the issue of insecurity, and particularly the manifestation of self-consciousness, and how that derails people and keeps them from even going or stepping foot inside of any type of fitness facility, Or once they get inside a facility, there can be drama, there can be problems, it can just be problematic, for people who struggle with that. Because there's this constant fear, or people looking at me, or people watching me, or people judging me. What are people saying? I see two people over there talking on a machine laughing. They must be laughing at me because I did something wrong. I mean, that self-consciousness is debilitating. And when you think about from a confidence perspective, how the ability, even for those who may have struggled with weight for years, those who may be morbidly obese, those folks who walk into the gym, all right, and they were able to hold their heads high. I've seen it just in various gyms from time to time over the years, and it's a great sight. It's a great sight, because my argument is always, you're doing 100 times better than the person who's just sitting on the couch doing no laps. You're just doing laps on the couch. The person who isn't doing anything. So I think just in society in general, we should always applaud people who are trying to improve themselves in their situations. But unfortunately, the beast of self-consciousness keeps people down, keeps people afraid, just holds people back. And this is an example where this gentleman ultimately was very successful. He lost the weight with legitimate means, no bariatric surgery, none of that. But ultimately, he started having some health problems. And so those problems were the catalyst to push him forward, to achieve his weight loss goals and to really get fit. But anyway, he looks great, but it's a wonderful story and a wonderful example how many people are plagued with this issue. All right, we've got an epidemic in this country, but we have a record number of people with gym memberships and fitness facility memberships of all types. So there's a huge disconnect there. When you got the overwhelming majority of Americans that are overweight or obese, and then you have just millions and millions and millions of gym memberships. The IHRSA, the most recent data showed 54 million gym memberships in this country, or fitness facility memberships. All right, so see, there's some problems there, but part of the problem is you have a lot of people that have memberships that aren't utilizing those memberships for various reasons, and when then the self-consciousness, this fear, this insecurity of being judged, and all of that is a huge part of that. So folks, don't let it stop you. We can't control what people do. We can't control what people say. We can't control what people think. People are going to think what they want to think. People are going to do what they want to do. Let them. Let them. Don't let anybody hold you back from doing what you need to do to move forward in your life, is what I'm saying. And I just had to highlight that because that is just so important. And just such a huge obstacle for a lot of people. And I don't want that to be you. Keep on keeping on. People are going to do what they want to do. People are going to not do what they want to do. We can't control people. The only people that we control is ourselves. So now don't let another person's perceived response to you or actual response to you derail you. And folks, I want to move on here next to an example that actually comes from my beloved alma mater, Northwestern University, one of my alma maters, my third alma mater, Northwestern University in suburban Chicago, Evanston, Illinois. So the title of this article was written by a first-year freshman, and her name is Catherine Augustine. So she's a columnist for the daily school newspaper. The title of the article, Women Deserve a Harassment-Free Workout Space. Now this is a lengthy article, but I've got to read this just for the whole context, because this one too explains why a lot of people have problems in fitness facilities. A few weeks ago, I was on a stationary bike in the cardio room of Henry Crown Sports Pavilion, known colloquially as SPAC, when an older man approached me and decided to recommend that I opt for the Stairmaster instead. I tried to politely end the conversation, but he persisted. He went on to complain about how people do not approach each other at SPAC and talk and ask for my name. My discomfort was steadily growing and reached a height when he finally asked, "Why don't you like me?" Luckily, another woman noticed that the situation seemed abnormal and approached a staff member. He retreated to the door but proceeded to wait there, presumably for me to exit. I stalled by the cardio machines until he finally relented and left. While the staff was informed of the incident, no action was taken to attempt to communicate with the man or remove him from the premises. I was genuinely concerned as to whether this man was going to continue trying to speak to me and then follow me back to my dorm upon leaving. My immediate reaction was to feel afraid of coming back to SPAC again in case he would be there. I am confident this is not a concern that men are preoccupied with when simply minding their own business on a cardio machine. SPAC is a popular workout destination for many members of the Northwestern community, but I should in no way feel unsafe or uncomfortable by choosing to work out there. The incident led me to begin thinking about my experiences of feeling targeted by men in gyms and workout environments and the frequency of similar experiences for other women as well. While students attending universities in warmer climates can opt for an outdoor workout, that is not plausible for Northwestern students in the midst of an Evanston winter. Therefore, Northwestern's female students who are paralyzed by the potential of judgment by male gym goers can be deterred from working out for a significant portion of the academic year. In fact, 65% of women avoid the gym over fear of judgment, in contrast to a mere 36% of men, according to Fitness Magazine. Even when women choose to go to the gym, they often make the subconscious choice to encounter the potential unsolicited advice and attempts at conversation they may receive from men. For instance, I was preparing a squat rack and adjusting the height of the barbell and the weights on each side. I was then approached by a man who asked if I needed any assistance and said that I seemed a bit confused. While I don't think that he had any ulterior motives or the intention to offend me, the advice came across as demeaning. I never requested help, and that should have been enough of an indication that I was able to work out on my own. There's no doubt in my mind, excuse me, there's no doubt in my mind that if I were a man, my ability would not have been questioned. I wouldn't have been given a second glance. It is precisely these types of experiences that make women wary of working out alongside men in a gym and cement their fear that they appear inadequate. Because of that singular experience, I find that I often question whether male gym goers are silently judging my form while I squat or the amount of weight I am lifting. And sometimes that insecurity escalates to the point where I avoid doing certain exercises in the fear of vocalization of that judgment. Given the vast size of SPAC, I want the university to consider dedicating, at the very least, a room for women only. Men can argue an all-female space is unfair. Men can argue that implementing this idea is reverse sexism. But those dissenting men have not experienced that same sense of judgment upon walking into a space dominated by the opposite gender. They haven't had someone comment on their bodies or appearance while working out. They have never been approached by someone with the audacity to give unsolicited advice. According to NBC News, 18.5% of women have had a negative experience at the gym, and most have subsequently resorted to changing their behavior in response. Women should not have to accommodate their behavior and their dress for men when they are at fault. The reality is that we cannot automatically and easily change the behavior of all male gym goers. As a result, we need our own space where the threat of mansplaining and harassment is not imminent. It's not sexist to create a female-only space. It's sexist to not guarantee women the same workout experience as their male counterparts. All right, and so that's the end. I know it was lengthy, but I had to read the whole thing for full context. And so this, folks, here, these type of behaviors and interactions and complaints happen across the world. These type of challenges with people being approached and people being given unsolicited advice and people being hit on, because the true matter is, and I mentioned this in a Posi-TIPS episode in the fall of 2017. I remember I was still at Novi-Michigan Fitness at the time. People come to the gym. People have various motives, needs, and expectations when they come to the gym. You got people like me who are not looking to make friends, who are not looking to be social, who don't want to be bothered, who are there exclusively to work out. You have people that are there to hit on people. You have people that are there. You got single people there to hit on people. You got married people that are there to hit on people. You got people that are just unhappy and miserable in various aspects or even all aspects of their lives. One thing you have to remember is that gyms are escapes for a lot of people. Gyms are escapes. Whether you're having a bad situation at work, you're having a bad marriage, bad relationship situation. Gyms for a lot of people are a way to exercise, relieve stress, relieve tension, but also an escape for a lot of people. You got some people there that want to feel important, that want to walk around and give people unsolicited advice. You got some people that are there as gym goers. They haven't hired a trainer. They're not working with a trainer. They're not in a group fitness class or anything, but they are looking for other members to be their fitness motivator and their fitness, all of that, and unfortunately I've been cast in that position, a few times. And I quickly shut it down, because I'm there to work out. I'm not there to motivate people. I'm not there to challenge people in their levels of fitness. That's just, it is what it is. So, but we all have to recognize though that people are people. People have various needs. People have various expectations. A lot of people are lonely. So again, a gym can be an escape for that. If you're dealing with an isolated relationship situation that isn't working out, that isn't going well, if I go to the gym and then this person is friendly and I can go in and talk to them every day, and that's why unfortunately you see at the front desk a lot of front desk personnel getting talked to death by members in various types of facilities. It happens, and those type of things happen. But people are people, and that's why I say, people have various needs, but also again, we can't change people. Only people can change themselves. I can't change you. You can't change me. People are going to act the way they don't want to act, and people are going to do what they want to do. And yes, there are situations where things get out of hand, and members get banned, and there's administrative things that then they can be held accountable and things like that. But I know from a coaching standpoint, when I read the situation and I read this article, and one of the first things I thought to myself, and I think this is something that is true for us not only in fitness but in life in general, and that is, anytime we're having any type of negative situation or situations in our lives, we've always got to ask ourselves, what is my role in this? What am I doing to rectify this situation? Yes, it's very easy for all of us to just, human nature wants to just point a finger and blame and this and that. And in this situation, one of the first things I thought to myself is, young lady, you could be more assertive. But then I remember, she's 18, and, many of us don't have a lot of confidence when we're 18, and that's just a challenge in and of itself. But, we're dealing with negative situations in our lives. We've got to be assertive. And in gym situations, I know this, people are laughing. If you see me in gyms, it is very true. I'm very assertive. Unfortunately, my Planet membership has forced me, because again, the gym is tailored towards first-time gym goers. So I just make the assumption that people don't know. People are trying to be friendly, and people are just whatever. But my responses are now much more patient and much more polite. But also, I reached a realization a few years ago that I can't complain about people constantly interrupting me, or I can't complain about people wanting to talk me to death at the gym if I haven't communicated to them that it's a problem. If I haven't set a boundary to say, what, sir, ma'am, I'm just here to work out. I don't like to be bothered. But that's communication. That's letting people know. And I didn't see in this article, her attempts, and it's tough when you're already kind of insecure and you lack confidence to be assertive in those situations. When the guy gives you one, tells you to get off the bike and get on the Stairmaster, and you just tell him, well, you know what, sir? I know I respect your opinion. You're certainly entitled to have it, but I'm going to stay here and continue my workout on this machine. It is highly likely that man would have said another word to her. And I'm not, this isn't about her being wrong or him being right or anything, but I'm just saying, she can shut some of this stuff down. I had to learn over the years, and women in general in gyms, and she's absolutely right about some of the challenges that can happen in gyms with, getting hit on and people commenting on your appearance and all that. I mean, I've been through all of that in almost 25 years of fitness. I've been through all of that. In my earlier years, it was handled very differently, in the most recent years. I had to learn. When I step foot inside of a facility, it is my responsibility to ensure that I have a good workout, to have a peaceful, vibrant, effective, productive workout. That is 100% my responsibility. It's not the staff's responsibility, it's not other members' responsibility, it is my responsibility. So that means I've got to do what I need to do to protect that sacred workout time that has been so important to me for almost the last 25 years. But if people don't know that if something is bothering you, if people don't know that you don't want to be interrupted, if people don't know that you don't appreciate getting hit on, we've got to shut stuff down. Men and women, because again, men face this too. You got men going to the gym to hit on women, you got women hitting on men at the gym, and you got cougars looking for younger men at the gym. I mean, there's all kind of stuff happens, and so men deal with this too. How do they deal with the guy who wants to come up and talk to them to death or correct their form? I mean, it happens, it's both sides. This isn't a male versus female. This happens to both genders. It happens on both sides, and so that's why we have to recognize that, people are people. People are going to judge. People are going to criticize. I talked a number of episodes ago about this concept of negativity bias and how, yes, people tend to quickly focus on the negative and what's going wrong and complaining and all of this and that. And sometimes in situations, particularly in a gym situation where it's highly likely that you're dealing with a bunch of strangers, is that people will often, when they interrupt you, it's typically, in many cases, commenting on some form. Certainly in my case, it's commenting on some form or some aspect of my workout. Always, almost. Just, I would say it's about 99% of my interruptions for the last several years is always something workout related. And I remember it was the fall of 2018. It was actually my Planet Fitness and Commerce. And I was doing sprint intervals, and this man comes up to me. He was a super early morning regular, and it turns out, I guess he got on a different shift, and he showed up here a few weeks ago and was letting everybody know, yeah, I'm back for just a little while, and I'm going back to that same shift. But anyway, very, very nice man. But I'm doing sprint intervals, and then he interrupts me in a rest period. I will give him that, and says, "Did you used to run track?" And I said, "Well, yes, sir, I did." He said, "Well, I can tell because of your form. When I was over there thinking, and I created a nickname for you, Road Runner." And I was sitting there thinking, like, you know what, you're interrupting me with this, but no, because again, he was trying to be friendly, but also giving me a compliment, but it wasn't, he was very respectful about it, so it wasn't a hit-on type of comment. And so I said, "You know what, sir," the older gentleman said, "You know what, sir, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day and workout." So that's how I responded. But see, that's an example. In his mind, he would just say, "You know what, I'm going to let her know that, hey, I saw her form and I can tell, and people are just, they're just like that. And in his mind, he's not thinking, let me go and interrupt her and waste a few seconds of her time. People aren't thinking like that, but it's just a matter of us communicating and letting people know, but always assuming the best, assuming people don't know. And like I said, I'm at Planet, so I know who their primary target audience is. So I'm much more positive and polite when I'm interrupted. And even when I see stuff and mentioning the whole, people being critical and judgmental and all of that. And I highlighted this in the spring of 2018. Remember last year, I highlighted this on a Fitness Friday where same gym and Commerce at Planet Fitness, and where this older gentleman was going around giving people unsolicited advice in the selectorized weight machine area. And I was wondering, like, is this some kind of joke? I mean, I hadn't seen anything like that in almost 25 years. I'm thinking, now, is this some kind of joke? Like, what is this? Is John, and I'm looking at the door, is John Quinones, and they're about to roll in here with some cameras saying this is a fitness facility edition of What Would You Do? Like, what is this? It's some kind of joke, because he was severely deconditioned, and that's a very nice, pretty way of saying grossly out of shape. So you have a man that was in no position to be doing this, giving 2 or 3 other people some unsolicited advice about what they were doing on the machines, and I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? And usually I'm very zoned out. I pay no attention to people, and I create a wall in terms of my body language. But when I witnessed that, I said, you know what? Cody does an excellent job as the general manager of the gym, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to allow anybody to disrespect his gym or just even the philosophy, the judgment-free zone philosophy, and the no critics on the sign. And I actually addressed it, very politely, very respectful. You know what, sir? You see that no critics on the sign? You see that sign? See what those words say on that wall? No critics? Yeah, they're serious about that. And when they, sir, I don't want you to create a situation where people are complaining on you or somebody curses you out because you're not in a position to be given unsolicited. You're not a trainer. You're not even in shape yourself. And so, it was very polite. I was very polite, very respectful. And he appreciated that because, when you think about what drives a lot of that behavior, people going around giving people unsolicited advice, people judging, people criticizing, people ridiculing other people, people name calling. What is at the foundation of all of that? Insecurity. So they're feeling insecure about themselves. So they're going around trying to make other people feel as insecure about themselves as they do, as they feel. So when you kind of take a step back and just say, you know what, human nature, is as wonderful as we are, just very common flaw. It's just this insecurity that plagues so many people. And it manifests in gyms and outside of gyms. And it happens in facilities of all types. And those people in that situation, weren't comfortable and very polite. Didn't want to shut the man down, and I was just wondering, is somebody going to curse this man out? If he had been in another location here in Metro Detroit doing that, oh yeah, some people would have cursed him out. Like, it would not have been pretty. And I didn't want to create a situation, in terms of enabling a situation, I should say, of these people that are getting told this stuff about their form and all of that to get discouraged, to feel judged, and quit coming, and then they end up losing 2 or 3 members, and then this guy right here to get cursed out, to get banned because he's running around, you know, in these people's mind, feeling criticizing them and all of that. Just wasn't a good situation. So just politely shut it down out of respect for the leadership and management of the club. But that stuff happens everywhere. Happens a Lifetime, Powerhouse, YMCA, you know, fitness to, I mean, it happens all different types of places. You look at online Google reviews, Yelp reviews, gym after gym after gym after gym after gym. That's a huge issue, very, very big issue. That is very, very tough because one thing that impacts one person may not impact another. And I shared with you, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago about how when I was most recently in Shreveport for the holidays last year, right after the New Year. So remember, Monday, January 7th, when I'm getting off the recumbent bike, heading over to grab a paper towel to wipe off the machine, and this gentleman says, "Excuse me, come here, young lady." Older gentleman, come here. And yes, sir. And he asked me, "What are you doing here?" Like, is this some type of joke? Like, what is this? But being nice and being patient, I said, "You know, I'm here to work out, sir." And he said, "Well, you don't need to be here because you're already in shape and you're making everybody else look bad." And I said, "Well, you know what, sir?" And just went on to say, "You know, don't compare yourself. You just focus on what you're doing." But what was that? That's why I said we always got to recognize, what is the problem? What is the real problem in these situations? You know, is it the other person? Is it their behavior? Or is it me in my own insecurity? Or is it their insecurity that's all of a sudden becoming a problem for me? You know, what is it? You know, the problem wasn't I didn't need to be in a gym because I'm in shape, or even I didn't need to be at Planet Fitness because I'm in shape. The problem was he was insecure and comparing himself to other people in the gym. All right, so that's the real problem. And that's what my challenge in this situation, you know, to this young lady or anybody in this situation would be, you know what, we got to speak up. We have to be assertive. We have to be assertive. If somebody's interrupting you folks, you know, and you see this happen all the time. Somebody in the gym is being cornered by another member, getting talked to death. And you see them, you see their body reaction, you watch it. I mean, it's just so common. It is almost comical. It happens in all types of gyms, where this chatterbox person is approaching another member, and you can tell they don't want to get talked to death. So it's like their body language, they try to escape, or they try to avoid the person, or they start coming at a slightly different time. And when all you have to do is to be honest, be respectful, be polite, but be honest and let people know. All right, because, you know, men are going to try to hit on women, women are going to try to hit on men. The gyms are very big pickup places. You got single people looking to meet people. You got married people, unfortunately, looking to meet people. Happens in all types of facilities. Happens. All right, but we've got to be assertive and make sure that we're addressing it with the person. You know, a lot of times, if you complain sometimes to a staff member, and this is just another aspect of human nature. Just, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. All right, you're dealing with a situation where if you go to a staff member and then if they are not comfortable with the confrontation, most people, you know, research has shown most people don't like confrontation. So you're running and complaining about another member to a staff member, unless it's a manager or somebody in a leadership role that may have more confidence in dealing with that type of conflict. They'll just, like she said, nothing was done. And they didn't talk to the man, nothing, it just dropped. And so that fear of confrontation is a big thing, even when complaints are made, you know, to management and things like that. So you got to recognize. And then you're in a situation where, you know, some gyms can be desperate to keep members, so they just allow just horrible behavior to continue because they're so desperate to keep people. So there's just a lot of dynamics at play. But all I want you to do is to evaluate, as I do in my own life, anytime something's not right or I'm not happy in a situation, I ask myself, what is my role in this? All right, have I spoken up enough? Have I been assertive? Have I communicated my needs? Is there a disconnect in terms of expectations? What can I do in this situation? What is my role? All right, that is a very empowering way to feel. I too have had to learn that. It's a very empowering mindset to be that way. So I challenge you as well. You know, we can't control people. People are going to do what they want to do. It doesn't matter what type of facility, whether you're talking about somebody feeling judged and harassed at one of Northwestern's campuses. You know, of course, we got a couple campuses, you know, downtown as well as Evanston. But at the main fitness center at SPAC, feeling judged there, or you're talking about Crunch Fitness at a Crunch Fitness location, which pioneered the no judgments philosophy when it was founded in 1989. In 1992, you got Planet Fitness with the judgment-free zone, no critics, no gym intimidation. All right, but it happens in those places and outside all other places as well, because that's just human nature. All right, so I just want you to know when it happens, and it will happen to you inside or outside of the gym. People are going to judge you, particularly if you're a leader. People are going to judge, people are going to criticize, whatever. You let them do that. All right, you let them do that. And just recognize, when you're secure in who you are, when you know who you are and you're comfortable in your own skin, that stuff will roll off you like a duck's back. If it's someone that's in a position to be giving you advice and there's some truth to that advice, then you welcome it because you're open, you're coachable, you're humble. All right, but if a person is sensitive to criticism, if a person is insecure, if they're self-conscious, that will derail them, just throw them off the rails. All right, so don't let that be you. Have enough confidence when you step into any type of facility to recognize, hey, in the spirit of Planet Fitness, the Rachelle Smith enhanced version of their tagline, be free. Be free to me means the Rachelle Smith, when Rachelle is free, but when Rachelle walks into a facility, Rachelle knows she's getting judged, she's getting criticized, people asking, yeah, people compliment me on being happy, but I know there's also other people that are saying, like, why is she always so happy? She's always dancing, she's always moving and smiling, all right? Who does she think she is? Which is a kind of a different way of saying with that man, what are you doing here? You're already in shape, like the man asked me. That's going to happen. People are going to think that way. People are going to feel that way. People are going to make comments. Has it derailed me one iota in the last almost 25 years? Absolutely not. Because people are people. That man who gave me the comment, he's human. That's what people do. They compare themselves. People judge. People criticize. People question. So my responsibility is to go to the gym and get my workout in, but also let people be people and recognize people are going to be people. I can't change them. I can only focus on myself and my purpose and what I'm striving to do during my workouts. That's all that matters. All right, so I challenge you, if you want to last 20, 25, 30 years in fitness, that's going to be your same mentality. Because if you let one person giving you unsolicited advice or somebody, telling you you have a great body, whatever the case may be, if that derails you, you got another thing coming, because you'll run to another gym and the same thing will happen. Many times we look at our lives, particularly if patterns emerge, if you find yourself running from job to job, relationship to relationship, gym to gym, all right, all of those situations can't be wrong. 8 different jobs in the last 3 years can't be, all of those positions can't be wrong. Anytime we're going from place to place, person to person, thing to thing, it's something within us that needs to be worked on. It's something within us that needs to change. And anytime we don't need to flee, it's always easy to do that. I'm in an uncomfortable situation, I'm unhappy, this isn't working, I'm afraid of conflict. In many cases, people are afraid of conflict and confrontation will keep them in those situations. So I'm going to run. I'm going to find another job. I'm going to run to another gym. I want to do this. I want to do that. Give me my own, separate area to work out in. Those are the types of things that happen. No, you stay there and you deal. All right. And I know from the overall university leadership, Northwestern President Shapiro, Provost Jonathan Holloway, when they're making these decisions, and the leadership of the individual fitness facilities on campus there at Northwestern, you got to, when one person writing a letter to the editor, is that enough to make, design changes, layout changes, all of that to the current setup of the University of SPAC Fitness Center? And you, as in leadership roles, will be facing the same thing. People coming to you doing this, and I want to do that, and I want to be away from all of this. I just only want one gender in this. I only want one gender over here. Those are very tough decisions. And my argument in this situation is, if this letter to the editor had been written and it's been, well, I created a petition and 500 women have signed it, or 1,200 women are also facing the same problem. So then those are the types of things that really get the attention of leadership, university leadership, when these type of decisions are being made. But when they look and see one person complaining, yes, other women and other men have problems, these similar type of problems in fitness facilities, it just gives more meat to the complaint in many cases. But in the short term, my argument was, just be more assertive in these situations. Just speak up. You'd be surprised how much in your life will change for the better when you speak up. And I speak up. All right, so this is something I've had to learn myself over the years, and I'll share more about that next week. We talk about my 25-year fitness journey, and it's going to be quite exciting. But folks, I want to highlight the third and final example here of case study, something that hurt my heart like you would not believe. Now, you know, I'm always highlighting athletic business. It's actually a publication I grew up. My dad used to read athletic business. He's run gyms. He's retired now. Superintendent of recreation for the city of Shreveport, Louisiana, but he, ran gyms during the course of his career before retiring. So I grew up with athletic business as well as sporting news and Sports Illustrated. But something I always highlight a number of times over the last several years is Rob Bishop's column, The Owners Club. The Owners Club. And so he is such an inspiration to me and so many other people, but there's actually something that really shook me up. And I reached out to him and I sent him an email, and I'm going to read our exchange before I close out this episode. But the title of this article is his column, a monthly column, The Owners Club. So April 2019, I'm just going to read a little bit of it in the interest of time here. And it's obituary, part 1, a business on the brink. And so he and his business partner bought Elevations Health Club in Pennsylvania back in 1995. And so I can't get into all of it because it's a multi-part. It looks like in the next several columns he's going to be highlighting, the process and what he's going through. But in long story short, and just to give you a little bit of context, he's either faced with either selling the club or closing the club. He's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The club ran into a lot of problems. Actually, Planet Fitness moved in the next town over. So, naturally when that happens, there'll be a lot of member attrition. So just a lot of challenges with his gym. And so just going to read here a couple of paragraphs in the interest of time, as I stated, that will just give you a little bit of flavor. And this will be something I'll keep coming back to over the course of the process of this. But it says, in 1995, my business partner and I purchased Elevations Health Club, located in the Pocono Mountain area of Pennsylvania. We were in our late 20s and completely unprepared to run a full-service health club. We had been friends since we were 13 years old and had dreamed about running our own gym one day, a neighborhood place where regular people would feel comfortable and where we know everyone by name. We love the neighborhood feel of this club. Okay, skipping a couple paragraphs here for the last one. Little by little, our club grew. By 2006, we began to talk about either expanding the existing club or adding a second, smaller location. We decided to expand the existing club starting in early 2008. In the midst of that process, wouldn't you know, we found what we thought was a great location for a second club. So, without thinking that anything could possibly go wrong, we did both. All right. So I'm actually going to come back and talk about that last paragraph. I'm going to close the episode out by highlighting that. And I'm going to be the most generous I have ever been on a Fitness Friday by making some closing comments about growth and expansion, particularly for franchisees and private gym owners, which are more vulnerable to this particular blind spot than your corporate chains would be. But I sent them an email, as I often do, reach out to people, whether they encourage me or I've seen they're doing something great or whatever. I'm just very big on that kind of stuff. So send them an email. The title of the email on April 25th is Wishing You the Best, Rob. Hello, Rob. I read the article in today's Athletic Business e-newsletter with great sadness. So they actually had it in the e-newsletter, and then I actually read this. So I saw it in the e-newsletter first, and I was just devastated when I read it. It literally shook me up as I enjoy your monthly article in AV Magazine. I speak for many when I say your articles are excellent and so insightful. Your confidence, vulnerability, courage, and willingness to share your successes and struggles are definitely valued in the fitness industry. Your leadership is commendable. You have helped countless people. You clearly could have gone in a different direction years ago, but remain committed to the fitness of your community. You and Elevations Health Club are in my prayers. Be encouraged that many people all over the world, including complete strangers like myself, are cheering you on and wishing the absolute best for you, your club staff, and members. It is a true testament that your employees are so loyal and have stuck with you between 5 and 20 years. I know many gym owners wish they were so lucky. Keep your head up. The fitness industry needs your light. Keep shining. Blessings, Rachelle Smith, Novi-Michigan. So he replied the next day, April 26th. Hi, Rachelle. I really want to thank you for taking the time to reach out to me about the column. I can't tell you how much it means to me to get a message like yours. It was always my hope that the column would help to connect club owners and managers over common themes, problem solving, complaining, and sometimes with a few laughs. It can be hard to remember sometimes, but I've been very lucky. I've been able to earn a living doing what I loved, raise my kids in a great environment, and hopefully I've helped the people in my community along the way. And as you said, I'm also very lucky to have had a great staff to help me every step of the way. Thank you again, Rachelle. I greatly appreciate all of your kind words and prayers. I'm still hopeful that I can figure out a way for this to end well. Sincerely, Rob Bishop, Elevations Health Club, and his phone number's at the bottom. So a lot of challenges. But when you think about this from a confidence standpoint, when you think about this from a leadership standpoint, his ability to be honest and transparent about his struggles as well as his successes. Yes, he's been writing this column for a number of years. But for someone like him to be so honest, and he's always been that way. I mean, just vulnerability and transparency is something that is certainly a hallmark of his, just his trademark of being honest, and it was just telling it like it is. And so, obviously, when he and his business partner, had the vision, and they were both very passionate about fitness. There's a whole story behind this story, but very passionate about fitness and so excited about, starting their own gym one day and all of that, but just faced some challenges along the way. And like I said, ultimately Planet moved over, and he couldn't have foreseen that. His business partner ultimately exited the business actually a few years ago, so he's been running it by himself for a number of years, but he obviously couldn't have foreseen Planet coming the next town over and just losing a lot of people and it just shaking his business up. But there's actually something, and I'm going to close with this here, and this is the concept, and you hear me go on and on and on about SWOT analysis: your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the value of competitive analysis. And this piece right here is just the value, particularly for franchisees and for private gym owners, the value of market research, the value of evaluating when you're thinking about market growth, market expansion, evaluating from a market research perspective, looking at the data and evaluating the true potential that exists in your market or your prospective markets. And it's very exciting. You say you got a gym and it's doing extremely well, and you decide, you know what? I want to have 8 locations in the next 2 years. That'll be great. Okay, but that's fine if that's a dream or a goal of yours, but you have to evaluate, okay, is there truly enough market potential for 8 locations of my business, of my private chain, or my whatever, just a traditional commercial chain, whatever the case may be. I think this is something, I think many people kind of struggle with the market research issue. It's expensive. I've got to invest in this research and whatever this and that. What if it tells me what I don't want to hear? So there can be some challenges around that, but just really, I've never been this direct about, because this is truly consulting what I'm giving you right now, but this importance of market research and evaluating, is there truly market potential? And particularly if you're in a city and you say you've got 1 or 2 gyms and they're doing well, and you decide, okay, well, we want to double the number of gyms we have this year. Okay, is there truly market potential for that? But something that will inevitably happen, and it happens to the Walmarts of the world, it happens to grocery stores, it happens to Target, in Walmart, and Sam's Clubs, but what ultimately happens, particularly in a period of rapid growth and expansion, is this concept of market cannibalization. And so when you think about market cannibalization and what that means, and just what an important concept this is in the business arena, is you got one gym that's doing extremely well, and you decide, okay, I want to have another location, particularly if it's fairly, and this is questionable in terms of how you would define fairly closely or close in terms of proximity. What will happen is that new business, in this case, new fitness facility, can end up, and often ends up, cannibalizing or taking business away from your existing location or locations. And this is such an important concept, because when you're thinking about market growth, when you're thinking about market expansion, okay, a way to determine how successful you are in your market growth, your expansion plans and your growth plans, is, in fitness facility parlance, member growth, member sign up. So when you're thinking how many people are signing up in your new facility, okay, in a chain situation, and that's the challenge with chains, is, okay, if you got a whole bunch of people running over to join the newest location of whatever fitness chain, all right, and they're not new members, they're transferring a membership. Okay, that's not growth. That's member retention. That's not growth. What a true testament to the either the validity of that market potential that the private owner or the franchisee had estimated before building that new facility. If it's truly there, you'll have a boatload of people, boatload of new member signups. So looking at new member acquisition is incredibly important to evaluate the success of your expansion and growth plans. How many new people are signing up in your facilities? How many people are transferring memberships from other facilities? Because that's not growth. That's retention. All right, and so that is not giving you a clear, healthy picture of how well your growth and expansion is going. All right, and so this was an example, and he poured his heart by saying they had one gym that was doing well, and they said, you know what, let's expand. Let's build a second location. It's going to be smaller. And so inevitably when that happens, especially with fitness facilities, is the original location all of a sudden with a new location is put on defense. So what does that mean in terms of defense? Okay, we got to keep the members that are already at this club to keep them from a boatload or mass exodus of people running to the new club. Okay, happens all the time. Boatload of people like, oh, this gym is old, it's whack, all the machine sucks and whatever. We're going over to the new location over here because it's always tough to compete with new. I don't care what you're talking about. It's tough to compete with new. So you got a boatload of people running over here to the new location. So the original location's in defense mode, typically well before the new location even opens. So there's got to be renovations. There's got to be expensive renovations and remodeling and perhaps new machines and just all of that. So that's an expensive cost to maintain that defensive posture to keep members, the existing members. But then the other location comes open, and there's inevitably is going to happen. People are going to be transferring, and so then that's the membership level of the original location can go down and just in whatever, because people are running over here. But that is not growth. Boatload of people transferring their memberships. I don't care what type of club it is, what type of fitness facility it is. Membership transfers. That's not growth. That's retention, because that yes, it could look like it's growth for the new club with all these people coming. But what that's also doing is decreasing revenues, decreasing memberships of the original club. So financially, that's going to put them in a kind of an up and down situation. But the new location, yeah, it may look like we're getting all these new people, but are they truly new, or are they already existing? All right, and so new member acquisition is always, always, always incredibly important. Your corporate change, your LA Fitness, your Lifetime Fitness are very big on new members. Yeah, retention is wonderful, retention is great, but also acquisition cost of getting new members. Remember, research has shown, don't have time to quote that, Google it, you'll see all the research. An average of 5 times, it costs an average of 5 times more to get a new member than to keep an existing member. So yes, membership retention is important, but new member acquisition is expensive. But if you're thinking about building different locations, you got to ask yourself, what is the potential for new members? Does it truly exist? Does it truly exist? A couple of weeks ago, I highlighted Eric Casaberi, who's the founder and CEO of Rachelle Fitness. He actually did an awesome episode of Undercover Boss. Some of you may remember that. But just an awesome guy with an awesome background, very, very passionate about fitness, looks the role, fit, tall, healthy, all of that looks great. But also, he pointed out, when he was formulating the layout and the design of how the Rachelle Fitness clubs were going to look, he had to tell himself, based on what was already in the market. All right, this can't be about my own ego. This can't be about trying to keep up with what the other competitors are doing and other competitors down the street are doing. This has to be about what is best for my business in terms of growth and profitability and being healthy and being sustainable. All right, so just think about that. What is the true market potential? What is the true market potential? Because I don't want you to create a situation where you're cannibalizing your existing location or locations with newer locations. It happens. That's why you see Sam's Clubs reducing, closing stores. You see this in the retail sector because that sector is struggling anyway, but you see a lot of that happening. But that's part of the reason why you have things that are too close to McDonald's close together. I mean, it's that kind of stuff happens. All right, McDonald's recently lost another second location in Novi on 10 Mile Road closed. All right, and that leaves the one on 12 Mile by the mall. But it happens all the time. The proximity, that is so important. Because truly, what is the market potential? What is the potential for market growth? Because growth will keep you going year after year after year. Okay, retention is a fantastic thing, but it's the growth. The corporate chains, there's a tremendous focus on growth, getting new members, bringing new members into the fold. And this is about, and this is this is true consulting. I've never done this on a Fitness Friday being this direct, but I think this is such an important point, and I want each and every one of you to be successful. And this is something a private, gym owner or even a franchisee just may not think that, well, do I need to do commission research studies and really evaluate? That's even the SWOT analysis was able to show you and help you determine market by market. What are the threats that exist in that market? All right, is there truly a market for what you're doing, what's going on? Or is cannibalization, or am I going to end up cannibalizing my existing locations? Can I expand all of my current locations instead of building new locations? Can I remodel my current locations, to draw in new members, but also to retain the members I have? But he's an example of that. They tried to do two things. They wanted to expand the existing club, but also, a great second club would be great. And that happens all the time, and particularly in the fitness world. So I just don't want you to end up, because it's just a very expensive, costly process, a painful process. Market cannibalization is where you're losing people. You're just losing tons of money just dealing with multiple clubs, and none of your clubs are really doing extremely well like they could be, because their membership levels are so spread out over several clubs instead of more concentrated. So that's an example of something that happens all the time, and just even practically. Even as a consultant, even a professional role, I often ask myself, what would I do in this situation? What would I do in that situation? What would I advise in that situation? What's going on in this situation? And even in Powerhouse Gym in Novi, you think about that, 70,000 square foot facility. I was there for 5 years. It was originally Fusion Fitness. When I first bought my condo in 2009, I actually spent my first year in Novi as a member of Fusion Fitness, but then left. Valley Fitness recruited me, $99 for 1 year. And when you think about the Novi fitness market, and I just think about, yes, I did a actually majorly modified analysis of the Novi fitness market a few weeks ago. Left out a lot of pertinent information, because I just don't do that on these episodes, but left out a lot of pertinent information. But Novi is a very tough fitness market, very, very tough fitness market. So you got Powerhouse Gym operating over there, but then, opened up a location about 6 miles, 5.5, 6 miles away, right there on the border of Commerce and West Bloomfield, but also can pull from northern Novi, not too far away from a Lifetime Fitness. But the challenge with that situation is, obviously franchise model. And now with that happening, that is, it often does, that puts the original Powerhouse location, you've got to spend a lot of money with expensive renovations and remodeling and all of that type of stuff. So there's a whole lot of incremental costs and all of that have just got to go into the existing locations to be able to compete with a new location that is only 6 miles away. And so in that newer location is certainly, got a very quickly established reputation as a very high sales pressure facility, but that's going to happen. You got a new location, and they've got to build membership, and they're also competing with a very strong Powerhouse location that is not too far away. But market cannibalization is going to occur. So you have people from Novi that are going there, and it's just that kind of stuff happens. It puts pressure on particularly your existing locations, but it also puts pressure on the newer locations, because they've got to try to generate some member volume to sustain the thing, especially when you're dealing with larger facilities. And in the newer location, just like the original one, has a track and a pool and daycare and just some more expensive type of amenities in terms of overall, operating costs. And operating within Novi, just the Novi fitness market, super competitive, but is a tougher road than average. I would certainly argue we have a very mature fitness market. There's a lot of competition here. You've got, Powerhouse Gym there, obviously. You've got Lifetime Fitness, as I mentioned, on the border of, the northern end of Novi, bordering Commerce. You've got Lifetime Fitness bordering Novi and Northville. You've got the Sports Club of Novi. You've got a number of boutique type of smaller facilities, CrossFit. You got, I Love Kickboxing is our newest one, My House Fitness. You got a number of different options here in Novi, and the operating costs are always high. We've had Bally's Fitness, which was a mainstay for a number of years. In Novi, was bought by, that chain was acquired by LA Fitness a number of years ago, and so June 2012 they closed Novi. It was a very sad day. They couldn't make it work. Novi is a very tough, because the operating expenses are so high, and the market potential is not great, particularly for a newer facility. And so that is a big challenge. So they closed that gym. There was no, and actually I was still at Powerhouse at the time, 2016, fall of 2016, reached out to LA Fitness. Like, hey, is there any chance you guys are going to be, opening up a location, building a new location, open up an existing? Absolutely not. And as sad as that was to hear, I understand that because there's, the corporate chains aren't going to make those kind of mistakes. There's just no, the potential isn't here, like it needs to be for a club like that to thrive, and they know that, and they commission the market research, and they know that. So I understand, and I give them that. So it's a tough market. It's a tough road. You got Crunch very smartly decided don't enter Novi. I was actually on the border to be able to capitalize on two different, Farmington Hills as well as Novi in terms of market potential. But Novi is a very, very tough road. Very, very tough road. Powerhouse, really, Fusion Fitness struggled. Powerhouse struggled after they acquired it, but then Valley closed and there was a windfall. So those type of things do happen, but professionally, in a professional situation, a consulting situation, if Mr. Dabish, if something like a scenario like that would have come ahead to me, like, okay, we have this existing location, 70,000 square feet, this number of thousands of members, and I want to open a location 6 miles away, I would say, you know what, sir, don't do it. Don't do it. You've got other locations here that will be less of a threat to your existing location, and you will be very successful in certain markets. There's greater potential in other markets beside Novi, but now you've got a situation where you got two competing clubs, and it is a tough road. It is a very tough road for both of them. But that's inevitably going to happen. The newer Planet Fitness coming, the second location here in Novi. We got the smaller location where I started out with in June of 2017. Now you've got a newer location, part of the Kevin Adele's project, very controversial and highly publicized project. In that situation, again, professionally, I would have said, don't do it, sir. It's a rough road. It's a rough road in Novi because it's just incredibly competitive, and you've got Crunch that is literally eating people's lunch. I mean, there's no other way for me to describe it. Doing some incredible things here, and they are your direct competitor, and you've lost all of your competitive advantages. The cost-wise, that's gone. Your judgment-free zone, that's gone because they pioneered it, and they don't have a lunk alarm, and they are, from a sales and marketing standpoint, on fire. And there's other markets. This market's going to be tough. Your operating costs are going to be tough. 24/7 open is going to be tough. But that's what I would advise. And I hope I'm wrong in that situation. But market history of this market, it's going to be a tough road. City of Novi has refused and continues to refuse to build a fitness-oriented community center in Novi. Because why? Too much competition. Not enough market potential. You can't afford that. Too much here already. All right, folks, so just think long and hard, and think long and hard about this concept of, when you think about expansion, when you're thinking about growth, think about this concept of cannibalization, because it happens in all types of industries, all types of businesses and franchise, all different brands and types. It happens, particularly with this proximity issue of them being too many in one city, too many in one metro area, all of that. So think long and hard, develop new markets, particularly evaluate the market potential, open up new markets. That's where your true potential is, particularly if you're the first one in or something like that. Look at new markets as opposed to existing markets that have a lot of competition and isn't enough market potential. Because I'm sure, as Ron Bishop and his former partner would say, I mean, it's really, really, really tough. Because then you've got major competitors that come in, and then you weren't really prepared for them, and then they come in with lower prices or more amenities, or a lower price than yours and have better amenities than you. It can be a tough road. Because everyone is truly fighting for the same members, and there's only so much. When you think about market share, it's a pie, and so each competitor, each chain, each facility gets a piece of that pie. Okay, and that pie is not infinite. That pie is what it is in terms of market potential. So really evaluate that. Think long and hard. Do your research. But that's truly my first ever consulting comments I've ever done on an episode. But I just feel so strongly about it. I don't want you to have your own gyms competing with one another, and that's what I see even with a Powerhouse gym opening. I mean, it's the newer location is more of a threat to the existing location than anything else. The second location of Planet Fitness opening up here in Novi is more of a threat to the Northville location and Novi locations than any of the other gyms in the area. It's just that's just how it works. That's how it works. because otherwise you got to be prepared to spend a whole lot of money and be aggressively going on offense against your competitors to really untap the market potential. Because you're going to have to steal from other people. That's where your growth in a highly mature, saturated market, that means your growth is going to have to come from the expense of your competitors. And that's the crunch model, and why they're being so successful right now, going on offense against their competitors, in particular Planet Fitness. So that's how things work, folks. But I just wanted to spend a few more minutes here highlighting the value of confidence. When you're opening up in a new market, you gotta have confidence. Have the confidence to do that market research, to guide your decisions, to know what's going on. But also to recognize, like Rob Bishop, and why he's such an inspiration. You know, leadership is not easy. Running a gym, owning a gym, just any type of business is not easy. The entrepreneurship journey is full of uncertainty, is full of stress, is full of competition, and all of that. There's no guide map, there's no road map. You know, we all make trials and errors in life, and on the road of entrepreneurship. So we're just the most important thing is we can learn, we can grow, we can be better than we were yesterday, than we were today. We won't make the mistakes that we made yesterday, we won't make them again tomorrow. So that's all it is. Keep learning, keep growing, but keep growing in confidence though, to know that regardless of what happens, you'll be okay. That's what, this is heartbreaking, whatever, but I know that he's gonna be all right. And I'm hoping that he can keep it open, he can keep it his own gym, because that's part of his purpose. And the people with no purpose and who truly didn't want to be in fitness, those are the people that give up. Those are the people that go to another industry. Those are the people that run. He has hung in there for almost 25 years, with elevations and its trials and tribulations and all of that, because his heart's in it, his purpose is in it. He's confident in his purpose. So he's been willing to fight for his franchise. So I want you to fight for your businesses, fight for your facilities, fight for them, but you're gonna have confidence to fight for them. Don't just wave the white flag and say, oh, I give up, a low-cost competitor has moved in, or this has happened, or this facility offers group training and mine doesn't, whatever. Fight. But also recognize, make some smart strategic decisions in terms of evaluating your market potential. And every other aspect of your business. But folks, that's it for today. Thanks so much for your time. Next time I'm going to be highlighting highlights from my 25-year journey in fitness. So until then, thanks so much for your time. And to remember, I am positively passionate about your success and confidence.